Okay, good morning, good evening, hello everybody. So I hope you're all okay. So we will be having a simulation now about waves. So before we actually start with the simulation, let me introduce to you about waves. So before in your grade 7 periods, you have discussed about the different types of waves, the different classifications of waves, what are the different characteristics as well as the different properties. So we have reflection, refraction, diffraction, interference, as well as reflection. Okay, so those are the different types of waves and different classifications and also different characteristics. So now let's have a different introduction and let's dwell more on sound waves. So sound waves, every time you hear a sound, don't you wonder what happens to the molecules of sound? How is sound produced? Why do I hear sound? Don't you wonder those kinds of questions? Okay, so now if you wonder, let's talk about sound waves now. So in this simulation actually, we have here meter. So this meter is actually used to measure the length. Okay, measure the wavelength. We also have here the timer. Okay, and we also have here the pressure machine. And this, we also have here the different types of waves. It's either once only or repeated waves. And then this in here, you can look at the frequency of waves. And we also have here the frequency meter. So by the way, frequency again is used in ano? Okay, so frequency is used in determining how high or how low your voice is. So kapag frequency, titignan na natin dyan kung gaano kadami ang na-produce na waves in a certain amount of time. So, it is also associated in pitch. Tama. So, it's also associated in pitch. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. Okay, so I'm not a good singer, but actually learn from the expert. Shut up. Okay, so we have here frequency. So we have here the minimum frequency and the maximum frequency. Mamaya titignan natin kung paano yan. Alright? So we also have here the amplitude. Ano nga ba ang amplitude? That is the Okay, di ba ang sinabi natin sa amplitude dati? The height of the wave from the point of origin up to the crest. Di ba yun yung amplitude natin? The height of the wave. So we have here a graph and we can also use the Platon if we want. We can also use, okay, we can see the particles. Okay, so the particles are actually moving. Pero kung walang sound, nandyan lang sila nagmo-move. They are not colliding with each other. Mamaya, makikita natin how or what happens to the particles if they are moving. So, we can actually put both. Mamaya, makikita natin. So, for example, we have, slow muna natin. We can also see side view. Okay, ganyan sa side view and meron din dito top view. Pero actually, parang parehas lang siya. Alright? So, let's start. Okay. Alright. So, it's moving already. So, when it's moving, okay. Okay, di ba it's moving? Tinigil na kasi natin. Okay. So, when it is moving, tignan nyo ha, ulitin natin. Okay. So, we have here, yan na yung wave natin. So, kung titignan nyo sa frequency, hindi siya masyadong madami. 3, 4. Okay, tignan natin. Ulitin natin. Ulitin natin ha. let's put a count, or let's put a timer. Let's look at how many frequency is made kapag ganyan. How many frequency is made at a certain period of time. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, that's it. Pause tayo. Okay, so mag-pause tayo. So, we have 10. So, in 32 milliseconds, so sabihin na natin 32. So, in 32 milliseconds, we have actually 10 waves. So, the frequency is 10. Now, let's measure the frequency, or let's measure, okay, the wavelength. So, di ba ang sinabi natin sa pag-measure ng wavelength, we have actually the crest to crest. Okay, so we have here crest to crest. So, we have 100.6 centimeter. Paano naman kung i-measure natin ang trough to trough? Parehas lang ba? We have also 106 centimeters. Tama? We have here 106 centimeters. Ibig sabihin, mahaba na yan. Tama? Mahaba na ang wavelength niya. Kasi, tignan niyo sa frequency, nasa middle lang siya. Hindi siya masyadong mataas, hindi rin siya masyadong mababa. Kaya nga, nagagano lang siya. Pero, paano kung mataas? Okay, let's try that. Let's try it. Paano naman kung mataas? Okay, we have here, again. Okay, let's play. Both. Okay, paano kung mataas? Okay, tignan mo, mataas. Yan, tignan mo. Okay, ulitin natin. So, ulitin natin. Okay, let's wait until matapos yung mga waves doon. Okay, so let's try kung paano kung mataas or naka-maximum ang frequency niya. Okay, let's do it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, if you're looking at it, 10. It takes 22 milliseconds only to have 10 waves. Tama? And then, if you're going to compute for the wavelength, if you're going to measure the wavelength, okay, it's only 67. Sabihin na natin, okay, it's only from crest to crest. Okay, so from crest to crest, this point to this point, that's only 73.1. So it's only 73.1 centimeters as compared a while back that the wavelength is 100. Okay, so ibig sabihin, the more frequency you have, the lower the wavelength. Did I discuss that before? Yes. It means the more frequency you have, the lower your wavelength is. Now, what is the connection of amplitude here? So, the connection of frequency and amplitude. Okay, let's look at it again. Okay, so the amplitude actually is the height. Okay, tignan nyo. Okay, so it's actually the height. Yan. So, dyan, from here to here. So, that's the amplitude. Okay. So, as you can see, the height of the object. Now, let's look at it kung nakaka-apekto ba ang amplitude sa wavelength. Okay, let's look at this one. So, nakaka-apekto ba ang amplitude sa wavelength? Okay, let's try to look at this. Kaka-apekto ba ang amplitude sa wavelength? Okay, tignan mo. Di ba hindi? So, the amplitude does not affect the wavelength, but it only affects yung height. Okay, it only affects yung height ng wave mo. Okay, kasi ang nakakaapekto lang sa wavelength is we have the frequency. Tignan natin kung paano naman pag minimum ang frequency mo. Okay, let's check it. Okay, so kapag minimum, okay, tignan nyo yung mga gas particles dito. O, diba? 1, 2, okay, 3, okay, tignan natin. Reset natin. So, 1, 2, and then 3, tignan mo. 3, o, ika-4 na yan. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So, we have actually reached 44 millisecond to reach 10 frequencies. Okay. So, we have reached 44 milliseconds to have 10 frequencies. And if we're going to measure the wavelength, so we have here crest to crest. Okay. So, we have here 145. What do you think? Okay. So, sabihin na natin 145. So, kanina, nung nasa middle, 100. So, nasa maximum, almost less than 100. Okay, less than 100. And then, ngayon nasa minimum, almost 150. So, therefore, what can you imply? What can you imply from this situation? We can imply that the higher the frequency, okay, the higher the frequency, the lower the wavelength. And the lower the frequency, the higher the wavelength. Alright? And then, what if we put pressure? Tignan mo naman ang mangyayari kapag magkahiwalay ang pressure. Okay, here. Tignan mo. So, it's actually having waves. Diba? Actually, they are of equal amount. But, kung nakikita mo, okay, so, equal lang yung distance na kino-cover nila. It's equal with the distance that they are covering. What if naman magkalapit ang pressure? Okay, tingnan mo. There's a sudden shift. Yan. There's a sudden shift. So, magkalayo na. But actually, the distance na kino-cover nila, that's equal pa rin. Kaya minsan, we are having difficulty in signals kasi mas malakas ang pressure dito, mas mahina ang pressure dito. Okay. So, minsan naman, parang mas malakas ang pandinig natin dito kaysa dito. It's because actually of the pressure affecting the sound. Okay, what if naman, ayan. Okay, so actually you can play with this one, yung pressure doon sa systole natin, okay? Yung nasa blood natin, okay, gaganyan siya. You can actually play it. So ngayon nakikita nyo na how do waves doon sa diastole, sa systole, o kaya sa BP natin makikita. Okay. So, the higher, okay, the nearer it is to the sound, okay, mas malaki. Okay, and, okay, so that's it. The pressure, this is the pressure center kasi. Pressure at the center. So, the nearer it is at the center, okay, magkalapit ang pressure ng dalawa. Pero, the higher it is or the farther it is at the center, magkalayo sila. So, that's actually the pressure. Okay, so, kapag magkalapit daw sila, yan. O, tignan mo, halos nagkakasalubong lang sila. Okay, so, I hope this is clear with you because this is a clear introduction about sound waves. So, ito lang naman, pinakita ko lang to sa inyo para makita nyo how, okay, so that you can see how do waves occur. So, these are actually the particles of waves. Ayan, the particles of gases. So, they are colliding with each other para marinig mo or para makapag-transmit. Ayan. So, yung mga pumupunta na white dito, sila ang mga gas particles. So, nakikipag-collide sila para actually makarinig ka. Para mapunta sa yung message or yung sound na tinatawag natin. Okay? So, we will have more of these sound waves later on when I asked you to make a situational analysis on sound waves. So I hope this is clear to you. So if you have any queries, so please ask me, PM, Gmail, or whatever, as long as I can receive your message. So if you don't have any questions so far, then thank you. And I hope that you're also able to play with the simulation here. Alright? So, bye-bye. I'll see you again next meeting.